Jai Shri Ram. Mahabharata, Esoterica, VANA PARVA. Noteworthy particulars. Now, in VANA PARVA, Indra took Arjuna along with him, and Arjuna sat on Indra's throne. Arjuna lived in heaven for 5 years, during which time, of course, that incident occurred which you are already familiar with. Urvashi. Uh, Urvashi was a Deva Vesha. She was a dancer in the court of Indra. She was fascinated by Arjuna's manliness, so she wanted to enjoy along with him, but he refused on the grounds that she is akin to a mother to him, because Pururavas is a forefather of the Pandavas. So Pururava and Urvashi are mentioned even in the Rig Veda. Now anyway, Urvashi is an Apsarasa. But the word Apsarasa does not mean a damsel or a heavenly kind of courtesan. Not at all. This is the meaning that was given later on by Puranic writers in order to keep the public titillated. Because the public, you see, we have to pander to mass appeal. In order to pander to mass appeal, this kind of pulp fiction was later created. So originally Apsarasas does not mean any heavenly courtesan. It means a ray of light. It means knowledge. So let us leave it there. On this Apsarasas, Sri R.L. Kashyap, who is an authority on Vedic Sanskrit and who has written many books interpreting Vedas, he will give us a wonderful explanation. So anyway, let us keep that aside. So now Urvashi sought Arjuna's company and Arjuna refused. So Urvashi got angry. She cursed him to become an impotent person and a eunuch or something like that. So Arjuna was terrified. So on Indra's request, Urvashi reduced the curse to 1 year, and then Indra told him, now don't worry, this 1 year, this curse can be transformed into a boon, because when you have to live incognito for 1 year, you can then allow this curse to work on you. That means Indra conferred a special power on Arjuna so that he can decide when the curse will come into operation. And by virtue of this special ability, Arjuna became Brihannala during the Ajnata Vasa. That is, for 1 year the Pandavas had to live incognito, and so a curse became a boon. So the lesson for all of us is, the worst situations, difficulties in our lives, if we use our intelligence astutely, smartly, we can transform those curses into boons. So every adversity carries a seed of prosperity in it, right? Every adversity carries within it a seed of prosperity, isn't it? That's a nice quote I think I made just now. So if you are able to look at that, then you will stop fretting and frowning and weeping about calamities, difficulties. So Arjuna was taught a lesson, and all of us have also learnt a lesson right now. So now that is about Arjuna, this Arjuna and going to heaven, and then of course there are other. Arjuna was asked by Indra to give dakshina, honorarium. So the English word would be honorarium. So dakshina was. So what was the dakshina? Indra wanted Arjuna to eliminate the Nivata Kavachas. Nivata Kavachas are about 3 crore asuras who were born of Kashyapa Rishi, who lived in the ocean. They lived in the ocean, and they were so powerful that even Ravana, along with his sons Indrajit and Atikaya, could not defeat them. Ravanasur could not defeat Nivata Kavachas. But Indra wanted Arjun, his son, to pay dakshina, honorarium, by defeating the Nivata Kavachas, and Arjuna vanquished the Nivata Kavachas. He fought with them, and 3 crores of them he single-handedly dispatched. The description of that battle is amazing, awesome. Arjuna used the Vajrayudham. To fight them, Arjuna was given the chariot of Indra, and that chariot was charioteered by Matali, and that chariot had 10,000 horses. So Indra gave his personal chariot, which Indra used in wars against Mahabali, Shambara, Namuchi, Prahlada, Narakasura, all of them. So with this chariot of 10,000 horses, Arjuna used several celestial weapons, which he acquired from Shiva and many other deities. So finally he vanquished the Nivata Kavachas. The word Nivata Kavacha basically means one who has an impenetrable armor. Nivata Kavachas. And actually there is a very interesting backstory to the whole thing. So the impenetrable armor they had, Ravana could not defeat them. Indrajit, Arjuna vanquished them using the Vajrayudha, and it was a wonderful battle. And Kesari Mohan Ganguly describes this in great detail. It is fantastic. As you read, you can visualize what might have happened. So Arjuna is greater than even Ravanasura. So in the Vana Parva we have other noteworthy details are about Krishna taking Abhimanyu and Subhadra to Dwaraka, and the story of Nala Damayanti. It is said that if you listen to the story of Nala Damayanti, one will be relieved of Kali Badha, and one has to pray to Karkotaka Naga, Damayanti, King Nala, and Rutuparna. So I don't want to get into all these details. So it is interesting as a Hindu to know all these things. Like I told you, behind all these there is a there is a hidden meaning, the ulterior meaning. Nothing can be taken literally actually, and anything is possible literally too. So during the Vanavasa, Pandavas lived in two forests. One was the Dvaitavanam, and the other was Kamyaka Vanam and Dvaitavanam. And Shantanu performed 7 Ashwamedhas. Like I already told you, Ashwamedha is a national level, international level project, infrastructure project. That's it. It's not killing horses. Ashwa is a Vedic term for the morning. It also means the whole nation. Ashwa also symbolizes energy, youthfulness. So Ashwa has many meanings. One of the meanings is horses. So these scoundrels have described Ashwamedha as horse sacrifice. And that stuck. And gullible Hindus, we all started believing that. So it has got nothing to do with horse sacrifice. Yes, a horse is involved in this yajna. The word sacrifice is not at all an equivalent for the word yajna. Okay? So Pandavas lived for a long time in Dvaitavana, and as the story goes, this I think is another interpolation. So Pandavas lived in Dvaitavana, and they killed a lot of deers, and one day I believe Yudhishthira had a dream in which there was a deer which was weeping and asking Yudhishthira to stop the killing because their entire families have been wiped out. So Yudhishthira, I believe, promised the deer. He stopped the hunting, and they also left the area. Now, this is again, I think all these interpolations are there. Meat eating to promote meat eating actually. So, many Rakshasas were killed by Pandavas. Bhima killed many of them. So, the excuse that they needed to do hunting, kings had to do hunting in order to hone their hunting skills, warring, martial arts and all that, to hone that argument also falls flat. So all this about deers I think is a silly, senseless interpolation, clumsy interpolation. So in the Vana Parva, the sub-parvas are Aranya Parva, Kirmira Vadha Parva. Kirmira was the brother of Bakasura, whom Bhima killed earlier. So Kirmira also was killed by Bhima. Arjuna Abhigamana Parva. Arjuna leaves because he violates a condition when Yudhishthira was consorting with Draupadi. Brahmin came and wept that somebody stole his cows. So Arjuna by mistake had kept Gandivam and weapons in Yudhishthira's palace. So he entered the palace. As per the existing rules at that time, the brothers had. Whenever Yudhishthira was in the house, so Arjuna was not allowed to enter. But he violated that rule just to pick up his weapons. Nobody knew actually. He went to the front room wherever the weapons were kept. But then he helped the Brahmin, but came back and true to his promise, true to the covenant, he said, no, I'll have to take the punishment, I'll go on a pilgrimage. So it was a pilgrimage plus he acquired Pashupata Astra. So all these incidents are also there with all the morals that are implied. Kairata, that is the Kirataka Parva, Indra Loka Gamana Parva, Nalopakhyana Parva, Tirthayatra Parva, Jatasura Vadha Parva, Yaksha Yuddha Parva, Nivata Kavacha Yuddha Parva. Like I already told you about the Nivata Kavachas. Ajagara Parva, Markandeya Samasya Parva, Draupadi Satyabhama Sambhava Parva, because Krishna takes Draupadi, Satyabhama, Abhimanyu, all of them to Dwarka. They make a trip. Ghoshayatra Parva. Ghoshayatra Parva is very interesting, where I think I covered this in another video. Duryodhana, Karna, Dushasana and all the Kauravas convince this fellow Dhritarashtra that they want to go on a tour to inspect the Goshala. So the barnyard was there. So this was the excuse. The actual purpose was to tease the Pandavas who were living a miserable life in the forest. So these fellows went there to the forest and camped very close to where the Pandavas were living, and with all their DJ music and all the Duryodhana, all the Kauravas went there with their wives and children. The whole of them, they were having a great time. Children of course were left behind, only the wives. This was a fun kind of an activity. So these fellows went there, camped near a lake, and they started doing this hangama. Unfortunately for them, Chitra Radha, a Gandharva, also happened to be camping there. Before these chaps came, that fellow was camping with his wives and his retinue. So that fellow told them to get lost, and that fellow claimed that the lake belonged to him. Now Duryodhana is a hothead, he is not likely to listen to anybody. So he said, nothing doing, I am a king. So the fight started, and Gandharvas are more powerful. So Chitraratha gave them such a thrashing that Karna ran away. Karna ran for his life. So this brave Dana Veera Shura Karna is a lie. Veera Shura is rubbish. That's a bloody joke. He ran away. Karna ran away from battle several times. Even in the Kurukshetra war, Karna was thrashed by Bhima 5 times. Yudhishthira once. Even at the hands of Ghatotkacha. So Karna lost several times. Yes, Karna defeated Bhima once. That too when Bhima was very tired and he was weaponless and he was taking rest somewhere. So Karna caught up with him. That was the once. That is after Bhima had already thrashed Karna and spared his life 5 times. Karna, his life was not spared, I think. Karna ran away. Anyway, so this Karna is not a Danavira Shura Karna. Of course, he was doing some danas and all that. That part is okay. That was because of his arrogance he was doing that foolishly, and he gave foolish promises to everybody and mainly to Duryodhana. And the lesson from Karna's life we have to learn is, if somebody does you a favor, you return the favor, but don't make promises like my life is entirely yours. When Karna did that, then Duryodhana started using Karna for all the diabolical activities, and Karna knowing very well that this is adharma, could not say no because of the promise, his stupid promise he made. So don't make stupid promises. Be slow to promise. Promise nothing, but deliver much more than what the others expect. That is wisdom. Be slow to promise fast to deliver. Always exceed expectations. In any relationship or business, always try to exceed expectations, but don't behave like Karna. So Karna ran away, Yudhishthira, your Duryodhana, Dushosana were all captured, their wives were captured, they were put behind bars, and a soldier from the Kaurava camp rushed to Yudhishthira and conveyed the news. Then Arjuna and Bhima were very happy. They said, yes, what we didn't do, the Gandharvas did to them. Good. చేయవలసిన పనులు గంధర్వులే చేశారు. There is a proverb. Then Yudhishthira comes into the scene. He says, no, that's not the way to think. See, we might fight within ourselves, but when an outsider comes, we are 105. So this is a lesson for Hindus again. We Hindus love to fight, in the sense not physically. We are great debaters. We love Shastrarth, scriptural debate, spiritual debates. So sometimes that may descend into quarrels, though not physical. So that is why in Hinduism we have so many denominations. We can start as many denominations as one wants. I can start a whole denomination. In fact, I consider myself a denomination. I am not an individual. I am an institution, a denomination all by myself. So now that is the beauty of Hinduism. And Yudhishthira tells Bhima and Arjuna, no, that's not how we should think. When an outsider has come to attack us, we must unite. So we Hindus of different kulamu, jati, varna, gotra, whatever that might be. Remember, there is no caste in Hinduism. All of us should unite. When the outsider, the mlecha, is coming, he is converting gullible brothers and sisters of our group. So we must fight them. We must expose these mlechas. The Bible and Quran, I have read them completely, and someday I will be launching videos also. But because as of now, you see, freedom of speech is a rare luxury which I don't think we Hindus have. If I start criticizing, they will file cases against me, and Sar Tan Se Juda is another headache. So right now I I don't want to take on that. Once I finished all my other works, then I will be ready for Sar Tan Se Juda also. They can ridicule Hinduism and criticize and pour scorn on us, but we cannot. That's the sad situation of the country today. Shastrartha culture must be revived. Once I am given a full free hand, I will show you what kind of bullcrap is there in these religions. Okay. So the lesson here for all Hindus is, we may argue amongst ourselves, but when an outsider comes, we should unite. Unfortunately, many Hindus are misled. They have joined Marxist. Many Brahmins are Marxists, bloody idiots. Karl Marx was a bloody drunkard. His character, if you study, you will not even spit on him. See, this is the sad situation. Oh, the only good communist is a dead communist. I don't know, somebody said that. So this is what happened. So Bhima and Arjuna defeated Chitraratha and rescued Duryodhana. And Yudhishthira told Duryodhana, my child, go back. Go back home and don't be dispirited, despondent or cheerless. Be happy. It's all right. मैं आप तेरा बड़ा भाई हूँ. मैंने तेरे को बचाया. This was the greatness and magnanimity of Yudhishthira. But Duryodhana, instead of being grateful, he felt insulted, and Duryodhana wanted to commit suicide actually, because he felt so miserable that after all finally Yudhishthira saved him. Bhima, whom he wanted to kill, and Bhima, whom he insulted the Pandavas. Finally his life was saved by them. So actually Duryodhana should have completely become subservient to Dharmaraja. But on the contrary, evil people, you see, after receiving such a great favor, instead of showing gratitude, he felt insulted and he actually wanted to die, commit suicide. Then Duryodhana, he went to the forest. He wanted to commit suicide. There for him again these Danavas, some Asuras, caught him, prevented him. And they told him, don't worry, we will help you. And they also told Duryodhana that Narakasura has entered the body of Karna, and they assured Duryodhana that other demon spirits were trying to enter into Bhishma and Dronacharya, so that Duryodhana can be strengthened and Asuras can win, because all these Asuras only have come down. So Duryodhana felt emboldened. And so the Danavas said, the Asuric spirits will enter Bhishma, even Bhishma and Dronacharya, such that they will always heed Duryodhana's request. And so they will fight on his behalf. So there is nothing to worry. Duryodhana will be able to win. So they gave Duryodhana this pep talk, and this fellow felt emboldened, and then he went back and started plotting again. After he returned, actually Bhishma and Drona chastised Duryodhana and Karna. But Duryodhana, because of this assurance given by the Danavas, he guffawed, Guffaw, loud laughter, because of the assurance given by Danavas. And then, emboldened by all the support given by Danavas, Karna attacked neighboring countries and appropriated huge amount of wealth and showered it on Duryodhana. So Duryodhana was becoming more and more emboldened, and he was happy that he will now be able to conduct the Rajasuya Yajna. Duryodhana actually wanted to conduct Rajasuya Yajna and declare himself the emperor of the world. But all the elders, Bhishma, Drona, they rejected, shot down the idea, because as long as Dhritarashtra was alive, and also because Yudhishthira was elder, 1 year older to him, he cannot perform the Rajasuya Yajna and declare himself the emperor. Therefore, as a substitution, Duryodhana performed the Vaishnava Yaga, and he was also plotting and doing all that he could in order to gain weapons and allies to wipe out, kill Pandavas. And Karna in the meanwhile took a vow that he will not wash his feet till he kills Arjuna, and also that he will donate anything to everybody, whoever approaches him. So why not washing feet? What kind of a vow? God only knows. Silly vow. So I told you about the Ghoshayatra Parva, Vrihi Draunika Parva, then Draupadi Harana Parva, and then Jayadratha Vimokshana Parva. Draupadi was, kidnapped by Jayadratha, who by virtue of the relation, Jayadratha is the brother, because Jayadratha is the husband of Dushala, who is the sister of Kauravas. So by that relationship, Jayadratha becomes the brother of Draupadi. But this scoundrel was a lusty fellow, and he thought he can ravish Draupadi. So when the Pandavas were out securing food, he came to the jungle ashrama and kidnapped. Then of course Dhaumya could not do anything. Dhaumya, the rishi, he informed the Pandavas as soon as the Pandavas came back. So Bhima and Arjuna chased this fellow, caught up with him. Bhima was about to kill him, but Yudhishthira said, no, if you do that, then our sister will become a widow. So again Yudhishthira's magnanimity comes to the fore. So Bhima shaves this fellow's head, he shaves it and leaves 5 tufts of hair, and throws him along with his chariot with such force that the whole chariot and this fellow lands at Duryodhana's palace. So which is an indication of the strength of Bhima. And Jayadratha escaped, but he swore to kill the Pandavas. So Jayadratha undertook a penance, and Shiva gave him the boon. Jayadratha wanted the boon that he could kill Pandavas. Shiva said, sorry, that's not possible. Don't ask for things which you cannot be given. So Jayadratha was given the boon instead, that for 1 day he can resist all the Pandavas except Arjuna for 1 day. That is the minimum that can be given. So Arjuna is on par with Shiva. Shiva pretended to have lost a bout with Arjuna in Sri Sailam, where Pashupata Astra was granted to Arjuna. So because Arjuna was doing penance at Sri Sailam. So, of course, some versions say that Arjuna defeated even Shiva. That is impossible. Shiva is none other than Krishna. So, Brahma, the Supreme Lord. So, how can Arjuna, after all, Arjuna is like a Jivatma, you and me. So, Arjuna was awesome in every respect. Just imagine, Arjuna had wiped out. He killed 3 crore Nivata Kavachas, 3 crores, 300 lakhs, whom even Ravana could not defeat. But, so just to glorify Arjuna, people have written that Arjuna defeated Shiva. No, that is rubbish. But Shiva pretended just to boost this fellow's confidence. Sometimes, we elders, sometimes the guru will pretend as if he has lost to the Shishya, just to boost that fellow. Actually, there is a nice story I am reminded of. There was a great guru, wrestler. His Shishya learnt wrestling. Then I will cut the whole story short. So this Shishya went all over the world, defeated all the wrestlers, and one day he felt, the only wrestler I have not defeated is my guru. So if I defeat this fellow also, then I can claim to be the absolute master, absolute champion. So he went to the guru and said, sir, I want to wrestle with you. Let us have a fight. So guru said, okay. And within a second, the guru toppled this fellow. Chit, that means a wrestler is thrown in such a way that he is supine on the ground. The back is touching the floor. So he is stunned. He said, sir, I have defeated everybody. Within 1 second you finished me. The guru said, that is why I am the guru, bacha. So, I will end the story. I don't want to dilate on that now. So now we have Ramopakhyana, Jayadratha Vimokshana, and Ramopakhyana. Ramayana is narrated to Yudhishthira by Markandeya Rishi, for your information. So if you don't know, Ramayana was mentioned by Markandeya Rishi to Dharmaraja and the Pandavas. Why? Because these Pandavas were weeping. Dharmaraja was feeling depressed at all these, sad turn of events because of his own stupidity, insisting on playing the dice game second time. So Markandeya, to inspire them, to cheer them up, told them that, listen, what you are experiencing is nothing compared to what Rama experienced. 14 years in the forest and all the troubles and travails and tribulations that Rama underwent. So Ramayana was mentioned in the Mahabharata also, and like I told you, during the Rajasuya Yajna, Vibhishana came from Sri Lanka and offered lot of horses and diamonds to Yudhishthira. So Ramopakhyana Parva, Pativrata Mahatmya Parva, Kundala Harana Parva, Araneya Parva. Araneya Parva is, that Yaksha, 124 Yaksha Prashnas which Yudhishthira answered. That is also very interesting. That you already know in detail. I will post another video on that if necessary. So some more excerpts from the Vana Parva. So many Vedic Brahmins accompanied Yudhishthira. So Yudhishthira was worried about how to feed all these fellows. Then Yudhishthira's guru, family priest Dhaumya, invoked sun god Surya, and Yudhishthira was blessed with what is called the Akshaya Patra, a miraculous copper vessel that could feed any number of people. It is like that cornucopia, Greek mythology, Zeus was fed. Cornucopia, horn of plenty. So Akshaya Patra is a concept that was there in the Mahabharata, and perhaps the Greeks stole the idea, or maybe they also had an epiphany of this sort. So the Akshaya Patra was there. It could feed any number of people, but the condition was that after Draupadi has her meal, it will not provide any more meals. So one day, this is how Yudhishthira managed to feed any number of people in the forest also. Because Yudhishthira was a king, he was bent on doing Annadanam and Seva and all that, feeding. So they went to the Kamyaka forest, there also. Then Vidura came and met them. Vidura was sent by Dhritarashtra and Vidura met. Vidura tried to convince Dhritarashtra to bring Pandavas back to the kingdom, but Dhritarashtra refused, and instead Dhritarashtra kicked Vidura out. So Vidura went to the forest, went away. But later the Dhritarashtra somehow convinced Vidura to come back also. So in the meanwhile, Vedavyasa advised Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana not to harm Pandavas, otherwise they will meet with disaster. But nobody were heeding his advice. Then also Rishi Maitreya, this incident is important. Maitreya Rishi happened to visit Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, and Maitreya Rishi gave some advice about how to be, friendly with Pandavas and all that. And but Duryodhana was slapping his thigh and pretending to be very powerful and boasting about himself, because he was tapping his thigh. Maitreya Rishi got terribly angry, and he said, "You are beating your thigh with pride. I curse you now that you will be killed in battle and those thighs will be broken." So this fellow angered a rishi. Never anger a holy man, especially Hindu, not the other cults, they are not holy. That saint. In Hinduism, we don't have any saint. We have sant. We have sant. Sants, if you want in English. Sant. Sant Tukaram. We don't have saint. This word saint is ridiculous, because in Christianity they have saints, Sufi saints. These Sufi saints were lechers basically. If you look at their history, you will be shocked. And what Christian saint are you talking about? And they follow the Bible, which tells them very simple: proselytize or kill. Saint Francis Xavier, saint. He is responsible for the Goan Inquisition, where lakhs of Hindus were butchered, women were raped, killed, people were burnt alive. You call him a saint? Saint Francis Xavier? What nonsense is that? He is a fanatic Xavier. He is a fanatic Xavier. So I don't use the word saint. So Maitreya's curse is also there on Duryodhana, that you will die, and those thighs that you are slapping, and with pride, they will be crushed and you will die. Chala. Duryodhana, you see, Bhima vowed that he will crush his thighs, because Duryodhana exposed a naked thigh and told Draupadi to come and sit on his thigh. That was sufficient provocation, and Bhima vowed that he will break those thighs. Maitreya cursed that you will die because your thighs will be crushed. So all these things are there. So don't blame Bhima for having hit him below the belt. Bhima actually forgot all this. In the last day after, last day of the battle, 18th day, Duryodhana ran away and hid himself in a pond, Jalastambana Siddhi. But they got him to get out of it. Even there, Yudhishthira showed his immaturity. He gave an offer to Duryodhana: you choose one of us to fight, and if you can beat one of us, we will give everything back to you. Krishna was terribly annoyed. He said, "Yaar, I did everything to ensure that dharma gets established, and here is Yudhishthira who is putting victory on a platter and handing it over to that fellow." Because Duryodhana, if he had chosen to fight with Nakula, Sahadeva, Arjuna or Yudhishthira in a mace fight, they would have lost. Because Duryodhana was a master at mace fight. The only person who could match him was Bhima. And Bhima, unfortunately, while in the forest for 14 years, he had no regular gym practice, no good food, and so his skill waned. Even if you are physically very strong, if your skill level is low, you will lose. And Krishna told exactly this much to Bhima, that you better be careful. Duryodhana has been doing terrific practice, and he actually installed a statue of Bhima made of iron, and he was banging that every day to keep himself pepped up, psyched up, and he had the best gym facilities, the best food, dry fruits, whey protein. Don't take whey protein. So all this, and Krishna advised Bhima, Baba, you have to be very careful, that fellow will finish you. You are stronger, you have the strength of 10,000 elephants, but that fellow has so much skill that you have to be very careful. Actually, Bhima was losing because he was tiring. Then Krishna told Arjuna, hey, that fellow forgot his vow, and Maitreya's curse also had to be made real. So Arjuna slapped his thigh And Bhima noticed. Then Bhima was reminded, okay, oh, I made that vow. This fellow insulted my wife, Draupadi. So he broke the thighs, and that is how Duryodhana died. What is the lesson? If if a terrorist comes into this room with a sword to fight and kill me because I am a kafir, I am a pagan, heathen, infidel, kafir who has to be simply killed. Even if I do him a favor, I have to be killed. So he comes with a sword, and suppose I fight him, and his sword drops from his hand. I pick up the sword. Now, when I am about to kill him, he says, and some fool of an ass will come, some pacifist, peacenik. He will say, no, no, nihatya ko marna nahi chahiye. He is unarmed, so you should not kill him. And if necessary, I will even use deception to kill this person, because he is evil personified. So, because they will anyway resort to deception. They will always resort to deception. So, why should I not resort to deception? If there is a fight with a snake, you have to become like a mongoose. So, shate shatam acharet. So, mulluni mullutone tiyali. Similia similibus curanter. Homeopathy is based on that. Similia similibus curanter. Like can be cured by like. So don't forget this. Don't talk nonsense that you have to be very, very honest and all that. The other fellow is a crook. If you don't outfox him, he will finish you. That is how the invaders came into India. East India Company came into India like that. The French, the Dutch, all of them colonizers, the Muslims, Babar, all these Muslim invaders, they all entered. Prithviraj Chauhan blundered. Prataparutra blundered. Many Vijayanagara Samrajyam collapsed. For 6 months they were destroyed. Women were raped. All because of the gullibility of the Hindu kings. Are you are dealing with a Vaipar yaar. So, if you forget these lessons of Mahabharata, this country will continue to become a slave nation. So even Rama shot Vali from behind a tree. So let us leave that aside now, because I don't want to get into a debate on that now. So what was I telling you? Maitreya also cursed, and Dhritarashtra heard the curse, and Dhritarashtra said, "Oh sir, please take back the curse." So Maitreya said, "If he makes peace with the Pandavas, my curse will be nullified." But will Duryodhana ever make? He never made. Because he thought, bloody curses, I will take care of all these curses. This is how Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi. And during the exile, Kirmira, brother of Bakasura, and Jatasura, all these Rakshasas were killed by Bhima. So, and then what next? So Balrama and Krishna also visited the Pandavas while they were in the forest. And Krishna said, "Arey Baba, why did you play that?" Actually, Krishna was engaged in a battle with Salva, who was the paramour of Amba, and who had kidnapped Krishna's grandson Aniruddha. And Krishna was fighting Salva. He killed Salva, and he had to come back to Dwaraka, because while he was fighting Salva, who kidnapped his grandson Aniruddha, that's another very big lengthy story. So Krishna was engaged in a battle there. Aniruddha was kidnapped by Chitralekha, who was the friend of Salva's daughter, who fell in love with Aniruddha after seeing Aniruddha's portrait. So Chitralekha, who was the assistant friend of this princess, kidnapped using her mystical powers, and Aniruddha was brought, physically transferred from Dwaraka to Salva's kingdom. And Salva, when he got to know that Krishna's grandson is here, Salva was a friend of Shishupala, Jarasandha, that gang, mafia. Asura mafia was there. So he thought this is a nice opportunity, let us capture this fellow. So they caught hold of Aniruddha. He was in a daze, he was sleeping. So then he was captured. When Krishna came to know that his grandson has been captured, he went to free his grandson, and he was fighting with Salva. He finished Salva. And while he was engaged with Salva, Dwarka was attacked by Ekalavya. Ekalavya and Poundraka. Poundraka is the fake Vasudeva. You can read about the fake Vasudeva in Bhagavatam. This rascal, Poundraka his name was, he wrote a letter to Krishna that was read out in the Dwarka court, that, hey, listen, Mr. Krishna, I am the actual Krishna. Please return the Sudarshana Chakra, Namali Pincham, flute, and all the other weapons. These all actually belong to me. You are a fake pseudo Krishna. You are the pseudo Vasudeva. I am the real Vasudeva. So everybody had a good laugh. But Krishna also had a good laugh. You can have a hearty laugh. But then this fellow, he actually got all paraphernalia manufactured. Artificial Sudarshana Chakra. He was fooling the people. Even today, worldwide, you have many saints who do all these, retreats, retreat. And then who they do all these magical performances to fool Hindus, and convert them. So this kind of nonsense was going on at that time also. Poundraka Vasudeva, fake Krishna. And he had all the fake paraphernalia. He got them artificially manufactured from China. So finally Krishna took it easy. He is a bloody idiot joker. But this joker, when Krishna was away, here Yudhishthira should not have played the dice game. Had Krishna been around, he would have prevented Dharmaraja from playing the dice game. So Krishna was engaged there. At that time, this rascal Ekalavya, along with Poundraka, attacked Dwarka, because they were trying to seek revenge for the death of Jarasandha. Ekalavya's father Hiranyadhanyu was a commander in Jarasandha's army. Jarasandha was killed by Krishna and Bhima. So they all thought, this is the right time. Krishna is there, now we will attack Dwarka. So Poundraka and Ekalavya attacked Dwarka, which was defended by Krishna's son Pradyumna and Satyaki. And the battle was very lengthy, and Krishna came back from Salva's kingdom after killing Salva, freeing his grandson Aniruddha. Krishna came back and then he killed Ekalavya and Poundraka. In the meanwhile, Dharmaraja was playing dice. So Krishna came and said, Are Baba, what a turn of events. So this is all Krishnamaya anyway. So everyone, even Yudhishthira realized, when you forget Krishna, you are ruined. Okay, that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whenever anybody used to seek his blessings, he used to bless. Krishne matirastu. Make a note. Krishne matirastu. That means may you always be in Krishna consciousness. May you always be in Krishna consciousness. Krishne matirastu. Krishne matirastu. That means if people begin to always center their lives, anchor their lives on Krishna, live the Bhagavad Gita, then they will save themselves. Krishna's grace will descend on them. Anugraham. Grace is another silly Christian term. So now where did we stop? So in the Vana Parva, they had to live for 1 year incognito in Virata's kingdom. That will come later. Virata Parva is the next. And Yudhishthira did not waste his time while he was in the forest. He met all the rishis and sages there. Markandeya, Brihadashrava, Shaunaka, Lomasha, and all of them imparted lessons on Vedanta. So Yudhishthira acquired a lot of knowledge. So don't waste your time when you are going through a bad phase. Don't idle and don't feel depressed. Continuously sharpen your skill. Those people who continuously work in spite of all the difficulties and enhance their knowledge and skill, they become lucky. Luck happens when you are most knowledgeable in any profession or area, highly skilled, continuously sharpening. Sharpen the saw. Stephen R. Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He says, sharpen the saw. Constantly sharpen the saw. That means never be dispirited. Do not waste even 1 hour, 1 second of your life. Continuous learning. Kaizen is the Japanese word. So Yudhishthira did just that. He was narrated the story of Nala Damayanti by Rishi Brihadashrava. Nala also lost his kingdom because of gambling. And Markandeya Rishi talked about the Ramayana, Ramopakhyana. And Markandeya Rishi also narrated the story of Savitri Satyavan. All these were intended to inspire, especially people like us, when we are going through a lot of difficulties in life. Dukkhalaya Mashashvatam, Anityam Asukham Lokam. So you need to continuously pep yourself up, psych yourself up. Life will throw all kinds of challenges. Don't lose heart. Keep fighting. And live the Gita. So, in the Vana Parva, there is another incident which is called Nahusha Parva. Actually, Nahusha was an ancestor of the Pandavas, who by virtue of his asceticism ascended to heaven. But he wanted Sachi Devi as his wife, Indra's wife. He drove Indra's wife out of heaven. But Sachi Devi was very scared. Now, this fellow, Nahusha, thought he will enjoy the company of Sachi Devi. Sachi Devi prayed to Vishnu, Krishna. Krishna said, nothing, don't worry. You tell that fellow that he should come on a pallaki borne by the Saptarishis. Saptarishis are learned people. Even Krishna used to wash the feet of Vedic Rishis and Brahmanas. Not that Krishna had less knowledge. So these are all examples set for us to understand that we must always respect people of knowledge. So Krishna told Sachi, tell that fellow to come on a palaki carried by the Saptarishis. So one of the Saptarishis, Agastya Maharshi, was shot. So Nahusha was a very excited and lusty fellow, and he kicked Agastya, saying, Sarpa, Sarpa, jaldi jao, jaldi jao. Then Agastya got angry and he said, Sarpo Bhava. This fellow became a snake. So he fell to the ground and he was living like a big python, and he caught Bhima. Bhima was caught by Nahusha. The powerful Bhima could do nothing. So Yudhishthira, just like that Yaksha Prashna's incident, this Nahusha also asked Yudhishthira a lot of questions, and lot of knowledge was transferred. So after Yudhishthira answered all Nahusha's questions, Nahusha also gained a lot of knowledge, and he was liberated from the curse of Agastya Rishi. So I told you about the Ghosha Yatra that also happened, and in fact in the Ghosha Yatra, Yudhishthira's final conclusive remark was, we might fight when others are not here, but when outsiders attack, we should unite. So we will become 105. And Yudhishthira also said something very awesome, very morally sublime. He said, the bestowing of a boon, sovereignty, and the birth of a son are all sources of great happiness, but rescuing an enemy from distress is equal to all the three. Isn't it great? That is Sanatana Dharma. See, I'll repeat it for you so that you can make a note and remember this. See, Yudhishthira said, if you receive a boon from the gods, that is one thing. It's a great source of happiness. And sovereignty, if you are an absolute king, monarch, king of all that you survey, no, you don't have to do naukri. Don't do naukri. Hindus don't do naukri. We always believe in becoming entrepreneurs. That is why India was, contributing to 30% of the world GDP from 1100 to 1700, after which the British came and broke our back and made us a poor nation. But some idiots got converted to Christianity and they are praising British. These idiots, we can't help them, mentally colonized fools. So, Hindus, basically we don't believe in doing naukri. We believe in being on our own. So, okay, it's alright even if you are doing naukri to a Hindu. Do not bow down to a colonizer. So, Yudhishthira said, receiving a boon and sovereignty and the birth of a son, a good son. So, all these things are sources of great happiness, but rescuing an enemy from distress is equal to all the three. That is a great value. So, we Hindus believe in giving succor, SUCCOUR, help, especially in the time of distress. The real Good Samaritans are Hindus. Jesus talked about a Good Samaritan, the parable of the Good Samaritan. But perhaps Jesus was referring to Hindus only. Hindus by nature are Good Samaritans. So before we finish the Vana Parva, there are some more things. You see, Durvasa Rishi once visited Duryodhana and he was pleased with all the hospitality, and so Durvasa asked, what do you want from me? So Duryodhana said, please visit the Pandavas. Durvasa had a retinue of 10,000 disciples. So all these fellows went Durvasa said, okay, I'll go and meet them also. And Duryodhana said, please seek their hospitality also. So the idea was, Duryodhana thought they will, how will the Pandavas feed? And then, Durvasa is known for his hot temper and he will utter curses. So Duryodhana thought, okay, let this man curse them and then they can be destroyed in this way. So Duryodhana was never letting up anywhere. He was working 24 hours to bring about the perdition, damnation of the Pandavas. So Durvasa was sent at a particular time just after Draupadi finished her meals. So he landed up. How do you provide food now? The Akshay Patra does not provide after Draupadi finishes her meals. So Draupadi, I believe, prayed to Krishna. So Krishna appeared. You see, Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Vishwatma Vishwabhavana Prapannam Pahi Govinda Kuru Madhye Vasidatim. This was the prayer of Draupadi when she was being disrobed. So Krishna always came to the succor, the help of Draupadi and all women, anybody who used to pray. Sahayo Jayate Shighram Yatra Gita Pravartate. So wherever the Bhagavad Gita is taught, heard, listened to, chanted, and whenever you seek Krishna's help, he is always there. So this is so Krishna came and Akshay Patra, he said he wanted to see what is there. Krishna came and said, please, I'm feeling hungry. She said, there's nothing available now. So she brought the vessel and a small leaf, green leafy vegetables. So, so there was a small leaf. What do you call that? So that small leaf, palak leaf or whatever, a little bit was there. He took that leaf and he said, Krishna said, Vishwatma Priyatam. Vishwatma Priyatam. See that phrase, Vishwatma Priyatam. That means, yes, this much is sufficient to please me. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati Tadaham Bhaktupahrutam Ashnami Prayatatmanaha. So Draupadi offered just a small leaf. She didn't even notice this leaf. And after Krishna consumed that small leaf, Durvasa and his disciples, 10,000 fellows, they went to take a bath. And suddenly they felt as if they had a full meal. They started burping. They did not want to. Then they decided, no, we can't eat anything. I don't know what has happened. I'm feeling as if my stomach is already full. So if we go there and don't eat after telling them that we'll come to eat, so that will be not good. So better we run away. So that is how Krishna saved the Pandavas from a disaster again. So towards the end of the Vana Parva, when the period of exile was coming to an end, Indra planned to secure success for Arjuna, and he went in the form of a Brahmin to Karna to ask him for the earrings and the armor which he got by birth. So Karna's backstory is very interesting. Karna's earlier birth was a Rakshasa whose name was Dambodbhava. Dambodbhava wanted immortality, and Shiva said, no, that's not possible. So the next thing Dambodbhava asked was, I should have an armor to destroy which it should take 1,000 years for any powerful warrior, Maharathi, and I should have 1,000 such armors, and whenever one of my armors is broken by any such Maharathi, he should instantly die. Now just if you spend some time thinking about this boon he asked, that means it comes very close to infinity. If somebody destroys one armor, he will die instantly, and to destroy that 1,000 years tapashakti is necessary, and he had 1,000 such armors. So this was next to immortality. So Krishna, Nara, Narayana used to do tapas, Nara used to kill him, but Narayana used to revive Nara because of the tapashakti. Again Nara used to defeat, remove, kill, destroy one armor. Again Nara used to die. Narayana used to revive him with the 1,000-year tapasya, and 90 such lives. He had 100 lives. So the part of the boon was 100 lives. So 99 such lives were over, and the last time Dambodhava somehow escaped because he went and hid behind the Surya Deva. He took the sanctuary of, like Pakistan gave sanctuary to Osama bin Laden, and finally the Americans killed. So Dambodhava went and took refuge with Surya, and Surya Deva unwittingly gave Sharanya. So now Dambodhava was born as an Amsha of Surya in the form of Karna. Now Karna also had the armor. So in this time, in this birth in the Dwapara Yuga, Krishna did not do tapas for 1,000 years and all that, though that whole earlier arrangement was not there. So to rescue Arjuna, Karna's armor had to be dismantled. So Indra did that. You know that story. Indra went begging and Karna gave it. Surya advised Karna not to give because he told him that Indra will come and deprive you of your invincible. He was Nivata Kavacha actually, impenetrable armor. Though, but Karna then sought a weapon, that Divya Shakti, with which he could have killed Arjuna. But then Krishna forced Ghatotkacha to start the night war, because the night war was actually started by Duryodhana using Alambasura. So the Ghatotkacha was pressed into service. Ghatotkacha was wreaking havoc on the Kaurava army, and it appeared that Ghatotkacha would finish the Kauravas. Then Duryodhana pressurized Karna ke Baba pahle isko maro, nahi to will be finished. So in order to kill Ghatotkacha, who was invincible, finally the Shakti which he preserved to kill Arjuna, he had to use it against Ghatotkacha, and Ghatotkacha single-handedly destroyed one Akshauhini, and while dying he made himself so huge using his siddhis, and while dying he crushed one more Akshauhini. So when Ghatotkacha died, Krishna was happy, everyone was sad. Why? Krishna saved Arjuna. So anyway, so I don't want to dilate on this again. So in the VANA PARVA, the last most noteworthy incident is the Yaksha Prashnas. 124 Yaksha Prashnas were asked. That was Dharma Devata testing Yudhishthira. And one of the questions which I am fond of narrating, Yaksha asked, what is the most astonishing thing? Dharmaraja said, every minute somebody dies, young and old die. But the others, they think that they will సెట్ అప్ ఏ పర్మనెంట్ అబౌడ్ హియర్, మనం పర్మనెంట్గా ఇక్కడ సెటిల్ అయిపోదాము. ప్రతి నిమిషం ఎవడో చస్తూ ఉంటే మిగిలిన వాళ్ళు ఏమనుకుంటారంటే మనకి ఇంకా టైం ఉంది. దట్ ఈస్ వై ఇన్ మై రూమ్ ఐ కెప్ట్ ఎ స్కల్ అండ్ ఏ ప్లాస్టిక్ skeleton with on the skull I have written memento mori. Memento mori means reminder of death. You never know when you will have to die. I could die today evening, tomorrow, but hopefully I am trying to live so that before I die I do this good work of summarizing the whole of the Mahabharata and passing it on to all those people who want to really improve their lives. So this work I am doing. So you must be ever prepared to meet death. Death does not, Yamraj will not come and say, you cannot tell Yamraj, sir, please, I have some other work, nothing doing. So try to do whatever good work. 24 hours you must be working. So this is Yaksha Prashna. On that I already made a video. I will make another one, summarized one. So now we have come to the end of the VANA PARVA, Mahabharata, Esoterica, noteworthy details from VANA PARVA. Jai Shri Ram.